Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KongaCast, where we discuss all things video games, especially relating to Nintendo. I'm your host, Adonis, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ryan. Say hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend, and hello to everyone listening. Glad to have you here
Hello
today.
to you too. Yeah, I'm glad you're back. Good to see you. Did you get a haircut? I like your outfit. Anyway, let's talk about video games. First of which I am very excited to talk about. Some good, some bad. Mostly good though. About Doom: The Dark Ages, and then later today we got some more interesting news on our good old family-friendly Nintendo. We got interesting. I'm gonna be positive today. We're gonna be positive, right, Ryan?
That is right. We are going to be positive. There's been a lot of negativity around Nintendo lately, and maybe there'll be a sprinkle in this episode, but mostly positive. And I know you're excited about the first topic, Adonis. So why don't you just kick it off for us?
I sure can. I'd be happy to. Doom: The Dark Ages is officially released. Let me get the bad stuff out of the way first, because it was a bit of a disastrous launch. For me specifically, I got no crashes, which is awesome. It doesn't really run well on my PC, but I can just lower the settings and play it in windowed mode just fine. I am okay with
Oh,
that
really?
because I used to have to do that way back in the day. My GPU is the very last in the line of the very first in the line of ray tracing graphic cards, which is required for doing the Dark Ages. So I do get to play it, not on great settings, but I get to play it, and it didn't crash. But for many hundreds, thousands of other people, they did not get to play because it kept crashing over and over again. And one of those people was Moist Critical, Charlie himself. He crashed like 20 times on stream. Not a good look. Not a good look for a not even just a release, an early access release, which is $100.
Mm.
$100. I paid it because I wanted to. So I also got into that period, and I wanted to really help bug test also with this issue. And apparently the community did figure it out. The reason why the game was crashing is because of a bad driver delivered by Nintendo, NVIDIA. It did not cooperate with the game. So if you went and got rid of that driver, or there, that's not exactly how you fix it. How you can look up the fix. I'm not going to go into it right now,
Mm.
but that's bad. That's a really, really bad issue. There, it's so bad that the launcher even said something about it before you open the game. That's how you know it's bad. So they there is a workaround for it, but that's just a really bad look. Luckily, it's an early access. It would have been worse if it was the official release, but yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. So I guess it releases tomorrow, technically on the 15th, but it's in early access, which means anyone who wants to pay a little more can play it now. Sounds like you had some issues getting the game to start, which is never a good sign. But what about the game
No.
itself, my guy? How are you enjoying
Yes.
the Dark Ages?
Oh boy, Ryan. Oh my goodness. We are in a time where I have fallen back in love with the first person shooter. This one specifically, actually. None of the other ones at the moment. I did play Destiny 2, I guess that counts, but more so Doom feels more, the blood in Doom's veins is FPS, right? Um, and difficult FPS. But this time around, they have difficulty sliders, which are great. It's so cool to be able to tweak every little bit of the combat to how I like it. I like high difficulty and high resources, not low resources and high difficulty, which is like super duper hard. I can do that. And if you want to chill and just have a power fantasy easy mode, which I think there's nothing wrong with, you can do that. It's awesome. I love the difficulty sliders. The gameplay, buttery smooth. You are, in fact, an iron tank, just as they said we would feel. The fighter jet of Doom Eternal is dead to me. The tank of Doom: The Dark Ages, that's where it's at. Oh my god, it feels so good parrying and just staying in the middle of combat and just being immortal because you parry and hit your shots and you melee and the music is just going so crazy in the background. Oh my god, Ryan, this game is so good. I love it. It's amazing. So far. So far.
That's awesome, dude. So how far are you in the game? Are you about halfway, or what would you say?
There's 22 chapters. I think I'm at chapter 10.
Hmm.
I've done the dragon combat, which I really liked. You know me, I love my dragons.
Right.
And I have done the mech combat, which is just it's a little bare bones. It's not super deep, but it's just like it's looker when you're in that big Atlan mech, literally doing like MMA with other giant creatures. Like it's awesome. It's so cool, and it doesn't get old very fast. So, uh, yeah, I'm pretty far through. I've experienced almost all of the mechanics except for the Forgotten Realms or the Old Realm, but the Cthulhu Lovecraft realm. Haven't gotten there yet.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Cool. I'm glad you're liking it so much. It seems to be getting some decent reviews across the board. Last question I really have for you, as kind of an outsider to the modern Doom series, is how would you
Yeah.
compare it to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal?
So Doom 2016 was run and gun. You were running around and gunning. You stick to the ground, keep moving, dodge around, shoot, lots of bullets. Doom Eternal is you are a not even like a fighter jet. You're more like an AC-130, jumping and flying around and dashing and hitting them with the high damaging attacks, and you're swapping weapons like infinitely fast and these crazy combos that, and you got these really wide open maps with teleporters and stuff like that. Whereas Doom the Dark Ages is you are running around a pseudo open world to find secrets and solve little puzzles, while in between you have these like packs of demons who have leaders or elite enemies that you can kill for upgrades, and you are very much so in the thick of the fight always because your shield is very strong. You're throwing the shield, and you're sticking in one spot, just parrying over and over again and shooting everywhere. Lots of shooting, whole lot of shooting. So that's what kind of separates them all. To kind of wrap that up is like Doom 2016 is run and gun, Doom Eternal is flying gun, and Doom the Dark Ages is tank, big old tank.
Nice, dude. It's cool to me that Bethesda keeps switching it up with Doom. You know, they could do like a very similar structure each time with these modern Doom games, but they do seem to try to change it up or at least give it like a nice sense of setting. You know, something to distinguish each game amongst the other. Since Doom 2016, I should say. So cool. I'm really glad you're enjoying it. I mean, it was one you're looking forward to for a while. It seems like Microsoft really hit on this one, and Bethesda developers behind this game. So really cool. Anything else on Doom: The Dark Ages before maybe we should flip gears to our next topic?
I think that's it. I think we'll see some more as time goes on. The official release is soon. Is I think you said it's tomorrow.
Yep.
Is that correct?
As of
Yeah.
recording
So
today, yeah, it should be tomorrow, the 15th of May. So if you're listening to this, it's already out. So it's available on Steam
mhm,
and Xbox and PS5 and all that good stuff. So
we'll
yeah,
see.
all right. Well, why don't you let us pivot into our next topic here? What do we have, Adonis? What's going on?
Well, uh, we got some bad news. A little bit of bad news. I know I said we're going to be positive. That is still true. We're going to be positive. This is going to be a raw news segment slash reaction. Uh, Nintendo end user license agreement update to the Switch 2. And Ryan, I like your expertise on stuff like this and your willingness to dig into it. So I want to hear first you break this down and what you think about it.
Yeah, so I think there's been some changes to Nintendo's end user license agreement. So this is the terms and conditions we all 100% read before we click OK, before you can access a product or a game or whatever. Nintendo's no different. They have their own as well that we all, again, 100% read before we start playing on their hardware, right? So it looks like there's been an update to their license agreement. Most notably, the big focus is on updates to the anti-modding slash anti-piracy policies within Nintendo, and also some new language containing anti-class action lawsuit. So let's do one after another. So anti-modding, anti-piracy. So what caught a lot of people's eyes is that there's been some language being added about how Nintendo has the right to uh, withdraw your access to the internet, withdraw your access to Nintendo Online, that kind of stuff, if they detect that you have modified the console. That is nothing new. That's been in their language. That's pretty standard. I mean, that's to prevent cheating and, a piracy anti-measure. What is new is the ability for Nintendo claiming they have the right to brick your hardware if they detect this piracy or cheating or modding, and anything that's not box standard that Nintendo would expect. So this is the new part that has people a little bit up in arms, and I think my take is like I don't want to. I hate being the person that kind of like white knights a company, but I
Yeah,
really
of
feel like
course.
in this instance, this is totally within reason for Nintendo in a way.
It's expected
Uh,
too.
I think, yeah, but that's probably a better way to put it. It's more expected. Nintendo is not the only hardware developer out there that has this kind of language in their license agreement. It kind of sucks. I think once you buy a project, it's yours, and you can kind of do with it as you see fit. I do think, though, in some respects, they're completely in their right that if they detect any sort of modding or cheating or piracy on the hardware, they're within their rights to brick it in a way, because if their interest is to protect online community, protect the competitiveness of games and that kind of stuff. Because if something's been modified, then that just opens the floodgates for like, okay, you can just give yourself infinite ammo in whatever game or whatever online game you play, give yourself infinite health, whatever, and all that's no good. So I totally understand it. So again, I kind of hate to white knight Nintendo here, but I do think they're within their rights to do this. Part of me, again, does feel like, you buy the product, you should be able to do what you want with it. But I completely understand them trying to defend that part. And it probably is a little more above and beyond that. It probably is them saying, no, we sell it to you like this. We want you to experience hardware and software like this. We don't like it when you do this. But I think a large part of it is, hey, they do have to kind of protect the ecosystem in a way.
Yeah, I agree, and I understand. This is, like you said, expected. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like agreeing with the fact that it isn't within their right. Like this is their product. They made this, like, or at least they paid for it. Um, and but here's the way I see it. I very much so operate on the side of if you buy something, you can do with it what you want. That it ends there for me because I love modding. I love altering products within my legal means. Right. I don't like. I not that I don't like. I don't use products to create my own products and sell on an open market. I just like to make them how I like them. I think I should be able to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally
So
understand that.
it's gross to me, but not a deal breaker. The deal breaker, they've already talked about the possible deal breaker. They've already we've already talked about that one. Uh, so yeah,
So, last
it,
thing I'll
it's
say on this before we pivot to the class action piece, but the last thing I'll say
yeah,
about this is if you wanted to be what they would probably see in their eyes as a bad actor, and if you wanted to modify a Switch or a Switch 2 or anything else really, um, and you wanted to run piracy or if you wanted to run emulation or whatever else, um, let's say you never connect to the internet. How are they ever going to detect that you have modified their hardware? I mean that's the simple fact. How would they ever detect that? So yes, in their
right.
language, they are currently saying, hey, we're going to potentially brick your hardware, even if you're not even connecting to the internet. But how would they ever get there? You know what I mean? So unless they have like something on the uh, on the computing side that can detect if something is off, um, that would be a whole nother can of worms. I would hate if there's any false flags or anything like that. That
True.
that seems like something that would be a little bit of an overextension. I can't really see them doing that. But I would say this: if you're someone that wants to do that kind of stuff, what is stopping you from doing it if you never connect to the internet again? And that's what people have done for forever when they've modified their 3DS or modified their Switch. If you just don't connect to the internet after that, how are they going to ban you?
That's a good point, Ryan. If I were to imagine, there would be some sort of local, like within the machine, something they would include,
Right.
whether it be some sort of like hard coded program, which I doubt. I actually really doubt they would do that. I
Me
highly
too.
doubt it would be a hardware thing because that would be expensive. Highly doubt that. Um, so there really is no answer to that question.
Yeah, and I don't know if they
Interesting.
have an answer either, but they're throwing it in the language to maybe scare people or that kind of tactic.
Yeah.
But I really don't see how it holds any water. So I think, like, honestly, I think a lot of that portion of the license agreement that's been updated is kind of just business as usual. You know, they're out
Yeah.
there trying to protect what they see is worth protecting, and if you're a modder or a piracy guy, um, what's stopping you from doing what you've already been doing? I don't think much has changed on that aspect. But I think the more interesting part is this other part of the license agreement that's been updated. The most other significant part is this piece about not getting into class action lawsuits with Nintendo. So I'm going to be not verbatim. I'm going to be more paraphrasing here. But effectively, they've added some language to kind of protect themselves against consumers in a class action lawsuit, kind of stating along the lines of, if you agree to these terms, you will not, um, you know, go after Nintendo in a class action way. But you do have the ability to like opt out of this if you write to Nintendo within 30 days of agreeing, whatever. So to me, this is a reaction to the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con lawsuit that was against them in 2019 and 2020, where
Right.
there was an actual class action lawsuit consumers were bringing against Nintendo for selling the Joy-Cons in a faulty way, with the Joy-Con drift being such a apparent problem on the Nintendo Switch 1 Joy-Cons. So that's how I see it. It seems like a reaction to the headache that they had in 2019, 2020. Might still be ongoing, this ongoing class action lawsuit.
I don't
But
know.
what do you make of this, Adonis?
I think that this was put in a long time ago. I think this was put in the moment they got sued for the Joy-Cons. I think that's what I think is happening. But my own reaction to it is just make good products that do what they say they're going to do without breaking down within a couple of years, and you won't have to worry about it. You shouldn't have to update your EULA. You know what I mean?
Hmm. I get that.
So that's how I kind of feel. But also to be expected.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care as much as maybe some other people. Like I honestly just can't see myself, going to court against Nintendo in a class action lawsuit.
Really?
Like,
Why not?
yes, a lot of times like other people handle it and they just want your support and they want you to sign and whatever. And I'm kind of like loose with a lot of this because I'm no lawyer. I don't know all the terms. I don't know all the hoopla that goes in and out of this. But I kind of see this as like companies are just crappy. Nintendo's no exception. Like, we love Nintendo, but at the end of the day, they are a company. Their end goal, like as fluffy language as they can use, but truly their end goal is um, profit for their shareholders. So,
Yeah.
like, I am at that point in my life where I recognize that, and I just don't really take a lot of companies at their face value if they want to be all roses and loveliness and like, oh, we care about the consumer. And I don't doubt that that is the case. I don't doubt that Nintendo loves their consumer base and tries to appease them in a positive way, all that good stuff. But I do think I'm realistic in the fact that like companies are just kind of out there to kind of cover themselves a lot of the times and out there for max profit, that kind of stuff. You can call me cynical, but that's just my kind of worldview when it comes to businesses. So I don't see this as anything besides like business as usual in a way where like other companies, if they would have the power, would do this too, and maybe are already doing it. I don't know the specifics of other license agreements, that kind of thing. But that's kind of my stance on it.
Yeah, I'm a 100% in agreement. Like I'm at the same spot myself. The way I think about Nintendo nowadays is not of their business. sector, it's of their game dev sector. Their game devs are special to me.
Right.
Those are the people that I care about. The business cronies that have hired these people are terrible. They're just terrible. Like, not that they're terrible at their jobs. In fact, they're quite good at their jobs. They're very good. They have made one of the most powerful companies in the world, but not very consumer friendly lately, and it sucks. But what I do love about Nintendo, and I urge other people to remember that the devs that are making the games are totally separated from these people that are making these decisions. Nintendo is awesome. Nintendo devs are awesome, and
Yeah,
they're gonna
I
continue
think
to
that's a
make
really
good games.
important distinction, Adonis, is like a lot of times I know like, people have grown up playing video games. I grew up playing Nintendo, you grew up playing Nintendo. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's like a special bond with something you've been like doing since you were like 5 years old, where I think some people might get a little too attached
God,
and it becomes a little bit of a relationship of like it almost hurts like when your friend does something that hurts you. But
too
I think
true.
everyone, let's keep our heads on straight. This is a company that makes a product that we enjoy. If I love Nike shoes, but tomorrow Nike comes out with like some terrible new policy or like comes out with something terrible, like, you know, I shouldn't be super offended to the point where like, how could you? At the end of the day, they are the company that makes the shoes that I like. So I think yes, everyone should keep that in mind. And like the rosy feelings I have playing Ocarina of Time as a kid, up to today, still enjoying playing Nintendo games. That is the development side, and the development side kicks butt. Like they're incredible. That's why people put up with a lot of the crap like this, where the business side of Nintendo isn't always lovey-dovey. But I kind of, again, I see it as like this is how a lot of companies operate, and that's just kind of the incentives that are kind of set up by our capitalist system in a way. Not saying good or bad, it just is what it is. So yeah, that's kind of like all I have on my thoughts. I know a lot of people get really, really angry about this kind of stuff, and I totally get it.
Oh yeah,
But maybe I'm just more cynical. I'm just more like, is this like too surprising? Not really.
not at all. Not at all. It's this late. It's we're in like mid to late stage capitalism where these conglomerates can do things like this, and there's nothing we can do about it except vote with your wallet.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, if there is no one's hands are tied. You don't have to. If you ever get too sick of all the business stuff, you don't have to play Nintendo games. You don't have to buy Nintendo products. That goes for
Yeah.
any company. I mean, yeah, I would totally encourage people to vote with your wallet. We've said that a lot on the show before. So yeah, that's kind of all I had. But why don't we get into our next topic, Adonis? This is something that we've talked about on the show before, is near and dear to my heart as a dude who works in business. So it's kind of cool to see what we have here. What is our next topic?
Our next topic. Also, I just realized that I actually did the incorrect order of topics. But the next topic is the financial report for the fiscal year of 2025 of Nintendo, of course. And there's some interesting things. And Ryan, you literally work in the business world, so I want to know what stuck out to you the most first.
Yeah, I think like at this point, like there's nothing too surprising when it comes to like if you're gonna look at the sales of the Nintendo Switch over the lifetime, they are down from the year before, which is down from the year before that. That's how it goes. I mean, this is a an industry where you release hardware and it kind of has that bell curve shape where it really peaks, healthy hardware kind of peaks in the middle of its life cycle and then kind of goes down from there. So, and this is what Nintendo was forecasting. So no surprise there. I think they were a little below their forecast expectations when it comes to Switch hardware sales in 2024. But I think it's also worth keeping in mind that they were above forecast expectations in 23. I think in 23, they were helped out a lot by the release of Tears of the Kingdom. They had momentum from the Mario movie and the release of subsequent Mario games. So the way I see it, 2024 is a down year from 23, but 23 was a higher high than expected. And I would also say this, I think there's been a lot of internal rumors basically confirming that the Switch 2 was originally planned to release in 2024, but they did push it out to allow for more development of Switch 2 software. So I'm not shocked. I'm not like oh wow, Nintendo's really falling off a cliff when it comes to these 2024 numbers. But what really jumps out to me is pivoting to some of the software that was sold in fiscal year 25. Uh, Super Mario Party Jamboree has been selling a lot better than I kind of expected. It looks like in their first
Oh yeah.
quarter that the game was available, it has sold over 6 million units, which is more than Super Mario Party and also more than Mario Party Superstars, the two other Switch Mario Party games. So it is selling quicker than the other Switch Mario Party games, which, by the way, those are the two best selling Mario Party games of all time.
Of all time. Wow. It's a great game. It is probably my favorite Mario Party of all time right now. Uh, because I've only ever played a select few of them. Don't jump down my throat for saying that. I just really love Mario Party Jamboree. It is no surprise to me at all. Um, and the next thing I wanted to point out, Rye, is a pretty good game, Mario 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe
Mario
is up
8
to
what?
68. Mario 8. Mario number 8. That game. No. Not Mario Party. I'm really tired. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Total sales over 68.2 million units and counting. Title now exceeds 76.66 million units worldwide. Mario Kart World is coming out soon. That total, that I really do wonder how it's going to stack up. I
Yeah,
really, really am interested to see.
it's insane, man. I mean, this game is as evergreen gets. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just sells like crazy. I mean, we've seen other successful Mario Kart games in the past. I think especially about Mario Kart Wii. Um, but this game has so much longevity. The legs are so strong on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It just continues to sell. It's like every year it sells another 5 million in the holiday season alone. Like, and every other quarter it's selling another million, million and a half. It just keeps selling. Um, and it was funny. Like I had mentioned this to a friend, and he had said, "Who has a Switch and still doesn't have Mario Kart?" But then if you look at the attach rate is super healthy at like 44%. But there's still that many potential people that don't have it, and that's why it still continues to sell, even in the most recent quarter of first quarter 25 here, up to 8,500,000 units sold, which is just crazy. This is a game that released in the first month of its life, of the Switch One's life, and it continues to sell. So I think for sure Mario Kart World's prospects are high, and it's going to be like a system seller. It's why people are going to be picking up a Switch too. I think like if you were to question is Mario Kart World going to eventually do better than 8 Deluxe, I think it's more of a question is what do you expect for the hardware itself? Do you expect the Switch 2 hardware to supersede the Switch 1 at some point? I think that's kind of the question if you were to kind of ask, is Mario Kart World ever going to catch 8 Deluxe?
I don't think it will, unless there is DLC. I think that it would take, maybe it will if it is a very, in fact, a very, very good game and it has the same amount of time that the Switch had between the Switch and the Switch 2, which is a long time, longer than I think was expected. Um, which I don't know if it will. We'll see. If it does, I think and it is a really good game. I think it could catch Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So we'll see. I mean, I do not even have my hands on a Switch pre-order, so I'm gonna have to wait to find out. Do you? Do you have one?
I do not know. I do not have a Switch pre-order. I'm signed up for everything. I'm signed up for GameStop, Best Buy, Target, Walmart alerts when they come back in stock, and I have not seen anything yet. Um, but I did secure a pre-order for the Switch 2 GameCube controller. That's the only thing I've secured one for because I have a feeling that's going to be a little bit lower stock. So I did secure that.
Right.
I'm also afraid of tariffs maybe driving up prices later in the year. So that's why I went ahead and got that. I'd like to get a Switch 2 at launch. I'm kind of in that camp now, but nothing yet so far.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if it does end up available. I'm hoping for it. In fact, if they do end up opening them up, do your pal an old pal a favor and let me know, because I'll probably end up getting one too. And so, just so that everyone listening can know if it's good or not, not because I am
Absolutely.
really, really wanting one
It's a
desperately.
business expense.
Exactly. It's for the people, not for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So interesting report, I think. Lot of interesting stuff. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover on this?
Yeah, I guess like just the strength of like Nintendo Switch Sports. I mean, in another year, like again, this is a game that released in like 2020 or 2021. And it's not like the most like critically well received game. I think a lot of people kind of put it in the 6 to 7 out of 10 range. But this game just continues to do well too. I think this just like let me get you the final number. It's currently at 16.27 million units to date, which just puts it outside of the top 10 of best selling Switch games. I think this just like speaks to like Nintendo's audience does have an appetite for more casual esque games, right? I mean, we see this with other games, Ring Fit Adventure, but I think the Wii Sports brand in particular, when it comes to casual games, is still really strong. I think Nintendo, I don't think they would ever pivot away from this, but they would behoove themselves by not capitalizing more on that. You know, whether we get a Switch 2 sports game or like a true sequel to Wii Sports Resort down the line, those kinds of things, I think should be in the cards for Nintendo.
I think so too, and it also does really shock me at how well this is actually doing. Do you have it, by the way?
I don't have it now. I've
Yeah,
been
neither
like
do
kind
I.
of waiting because I know it's sold so well. I'm like, eventually I could probably get it for like $20, but it doesn't go down like that. I mean, it's a Nintendo game, so it doesn't really go down like that, you know?
Yeah, those don't do that. I mean, it's got to be real bad to do something like that. But apparently it's not. Apparently people like it, and you're totally right though. That's just Nintendo's market, is those family-friendly, chill games that are, mildly competitive with like the local audience. Like if it's multiple people in a room playing together, a couch co-op. And I definitely do think that it at least from what I've heard, it does hit the mark. Just not exactly in the realm that I hoped
Yeah.
it would. I don't really know how to explain it because I haven't played it, so I really shouldn't judge it. But it's
No, I've
doing
heard
real
the
good.
same
So
thing. I've
yeah,
heard the same thing where it's just like it came out with 6 sports. I think it now has 8 sports. But of the 6 sports, 3 of them were like badminton, volleyball, and one other that like involves a net. And it's just like these are like, oh, and tennis. So it's like these are
yeah,
almost they're like not the same sport, but they're like kind of the same concept, right? Ball and net. So it's like why
yeah.
the selection there is a little weird in my eyes. So I was kind of waiting and waiting to see a sale and see like what they updated it with. They added golf and basketball down the line. I still don't think there's like enough for me to justify picking up for like whatever it goes for, like $40 or $50. But
No way.
we'll see.
Not for me.
Maybe they do a Switch 2 edition and they add more content. Who knows? So, but
True.
yeah, I think that's kind of it for the um sales report here. Unless you had something else you wanted to touch on.
No, I think that's it. And it's just it is an interesting one because it shows that expected dip right before a huge release for them. Can't wait to see what 26 looks like. Oh my goodness.
Yes, sir. So, all right. Yeah, that's kind of like all the topics we had. So, what do we have next, Adonis? What are we talking about next?
Oh boy, it's my favorite part of the show. It's time to talk about what we've been playing this week. You want to go first?
Sure, man. So, I played a little bit more Animal Well. I think I'm kind of at the point now though where like I've already rolled credits. I was doing a lot of more of the post game. This game is so deep. You think you find a secret, but then there's a secret within the secret, and then there is a secret within the secret within the secret. It just keeps going. It is truly a well of what the
Of
heck's going
animals?
on here. Exact. What's that?
Oh my god, I get it now.
Yeah. So yeah, I really appreciate this game. I do think I'm gonna put it down for a bit though, because like at some point you do circle the same rooms over and over and over, and like I think that's part of the fun. That's why people like it so much. But to me, I'm kind of at the point where like, all right, I'll set it down. Maybe someday in the future I will go back to it and try to get the deepest secrets within this game. But I don't know if that's in the cards right now. So I've
Yeah, I feel that
also
this is every once in a while kind of game. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm kind of getting that vibe too. I also played a little bit more Half Life, probably about a another hour or two. So I did get to playing a little bit of the gunplay, a little bit of the actual game,
Mm,
which is cool. But still
good.
not too much to say on it yet. Another game I've been playing is Endless Ocean, based off your recommendation. So I did start Endless Ocean, my May game, and I was enjoying it a lot. I really enjoy the atmosphere. I was surprised by how budget it feels, and I guess that's a little derogatory, but it's a cheap feeling game
It
where
really is. I'm not gonna lie to
just
you.
the yeah just the menu system and like a lot of things around it just make it feel like it was like very cheaply made. But I will say the core game of exploring underwater and like clicking on fish and kind of learning about them is cool. I dig it. It's probably not for everyone, but I'm digging it so far.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not for everybody. But if you like Pokemon Snap and want to learn some real life facts, like which that was me, and it still is me. That it appeals to me, and it will appeal to you too. So yeah, and it's so cheaply made. Like in fact, I revisited some footage of it, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't remember that. I don't remember any of that. But yeah, now in my adulthood, I can definitely see the difference, and you won't need to play it any longer than I think a couple hours, if even that. And then you've kind of seen and done all the interesting things. But yeah, I'm really glad you are getting some enjoyment out of that bad boy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been playing now. I actually had a physical injury. To anyone who's watching the video right now, you can see I have a bandage on my thumb
Oh
where
no!
I cut my thumb pretty bad. So I'm stitched up right now. I'll have some stitches for a bit here. So I don't know how much gaming I'll do, but Endless Ocean is a game you can play with one Wii remote. So I'm gonna switch to my right hand. I'm usually a lefty, but I can do some gaming on the Wii. I think that's kind of what I can do right now, though, because I can't use my left thumb.
This is all just my master plan to get you to play nothing but Endless Ocean.
That's right.
Haha! It was
That's
me
right.
all along.
Yeah.
So yeah, hoping that recovers fast. That is not fun. Everybody say their prayers to Ryan. Give him your
Yeah.
energy.
Thoughts and prayers. I
Um,
really need them. I'm suffering over here. Can't play video games. So, all right. What do you got for me, Adonis? What have you been playing recently?
I have been playing, to no one's surprise, Doom: The Dark Ages. I have been very much so enjoying this game. I feel like my inner Doom guy is alive once again. And spoilers ahead, spoilers, very mild spoilers. Doom guy himself, the Doom Slayer, Mr. Doom, has said two words as of this point in my playthrough. In Doom Eternal, he said no. Now, he has also said run.
Oh gosh.
It was awesome. Let me paint this scene for you. The main bad guy with the MacGuffin, I'm not going to say any words other than those, uh, and one of the main bad guy's cronies pushes the Doomslayer off a cliff. And you're like, oh no. And one of the allies of the Doomslayer, is almost going to get killed by the main guy. And a giant Atlan mech rises in the background, right next to the balcony. And the Doomslayer, says, run. You don't know if he's talking to his ally or to all the bad guys. It was awesome. That was one of my favorite scenes in all of Doom history. The story is definitely taken up a notch, and that's what I really like about it. The combat, although slower than Doom Eternal, which won't be for everybody, I like it. I like this slower, more tank based playstyle. I am a born and bred tank. In every video game I play, I go for those immortal, strong armor, big guy builds, usually with melee weapons, which is an option in this game. Doom Dark Ages has a very big focus on melee combat, which I love. I love that. I love it so much. So I really love this game so far. I'm very much so going to be playing it immediately after we get done here. That is a guaranteed. But once I'm done that, there's a special little game that my buddy recommended to me that I am going to play to kind of bring me back down from that Doom Slayer mentality. I think it'll be a little different than Doom the Dark Ages. I'll be playing a short hike immediately after I get done this campaign, and I'm looking forward to it. I need a game like that right now.
Yeah, nice little palate cleanser. It's like when Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing released on the same day, and
True.
all of the
That is so true.
all the jokes around two vastly different games releasing around the same time. Obviously, Short Hike hasn't released this week, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's more so but another funny thing is that I am playing Doom Eternal and sorry, Doom Dark Ages. I'm gonna keep doing that. Um, and I'm like, I go out to the kitchen to go make my dinner, and both of my parents are playing Animal Crossing, and I had this like really, really crazy deja vu moment, and I couldn't figure out why, but it didn't take me long. It felt that it was a bittersweet deja vu because
Mm.
that was awesome when both of those came out, but the world was shutting down, so man, that
What a
was
time!
weird. What a time.
What a
Good time to be
time!
playing video games.
Absolutely, dude. So, what else have you been playing, or is that it?
Yeah, that's been it. I've only played Doom Dark Ages. Nothing else.
I have. Hey, I'm not surprised at all by that. I know how big of a Doom fan you are, so that makes a whole lot of sense. So, alrighty. Well, why don't we wrap up the show then? What do you think?
All right, let's do it. That's going to do it for this edition of the KongaCast. Thank you everyone for tuning in to this episode. If you like what you heard, make sure to rate 5 stars on Spotify or Apple Music and follow the show to hear more. Stay up to date on the show. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at KongaCast. For all business inquiries, please email kongacast@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. Have a great day, and we will see you next week.
Bye
Bye.
bye.